Hey everyone, John with Angie Outdoors. Getting ready to do a little test batch of sausage, a little 5-pound test batch, using a basic recipe and just kind of changing a few things. This is going to be a pure pork sausage with hatch green chilies instead of jalapenos, and cheddar cheese, and then some other spices and stuff that we'll get into when we start mixing it all together. So I'm gonna get the meat out. It's been in the refrigerator. It's still a little bit frozen, which is good because you want this as cold as can be while you're grinding it. And then we'll grind it. We'll mix in the cheese and the green chilies. Then we'll mix in the spice mix, and then we'll put it back in the fridge. It's gonna sit in there for a couple hours, and then we're going to take it out and we're gonna stuff it, and we're gonna make sausage links out of it. All right, so here we go, folks. All right, so we got the KitchenAid mixer with the grinding attachment for it. Now this is not KitchenAid's grinding attachment. We looked at that and it's a lot of plastic, and I just didn't think it was gonna be durable enough. So we went on Amazon and we found this setup, and we've had it for I think about 4 years now, and it's been great. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started here because again, we want this meat to be as cold as possible. I've taken it out of the fridge, and it's still probably a lot of frozenness to it. Also, underneath the mixer right here, you probably can't see it, I got a bowl of ice water, and once in a while you just dip your hand in there and drop some of that ice water in it, and it helps keeps everything cold. Okay, so we're going to crank it up to 4. It's going to get loud right now, and then we'll start pushing it through. So let's get some meat in the hopper. So here's what we're dealing with. I just cubed it up. You can see it's still got a good cube form because it's still partially frozen. Okay, that's what we're working with today. A whole bunch of it up here in the hopper. One thing I would do if I change this design, I'd make an even bigger hopper for it. But this one will work. It'll get the job done. All right, so long pour. I like a coarse grind for my sausages unless I was doing something like bologna or maybe a breakfast sausage. So I have my 12 millimeter blade, or 12 millimeter guide on there. Usually our batches are around 10 pounds, but I decided it's easier to manage and mix a 4 or 5 pound batch. And since I'm doing stuff that I haven't used before, like the hatch green chilies, I wanted to change it up. And this is my first all pork sausage. Usually I have venison and pork mix, or venison and beef mix. The hatch green chilies we have, I grew up in New Mexico most of my childhood at least, so I grew to love green chilies. Hatch green chilies are the best. And we can get them here now in Texas, and we pick some up. We get like 10 pounds of it, and then we freeze it in little batches. And this time, and it depends which ones you get, but this time they were pretty dang hot. I would say they're probably as hot as an average jalapeno. So that's warm pork green chili. So I'm putting this size batch. If I use a jalapeno, I put a whole jalapeno in it. So for this, I'm putting about a whole green chili in it, maybe a little more, but we'll see how it does. I'm trying to get some of that ice water in. When Audrey's here with me, this will be a 2-person job. I'm usually putting the meat on the hopper here, while she's stuffing the meat into the grinder. So working by myself today makes it a little more challenging. I was coming out with a fish smoking video because I smoked my first fish a couple weeks ago. And then when I went to download the images or the video, I realized I didn't have the video clips. I don't know what happened to them. It was shot on this same camera, and I just don't know. I don't know what happened. So we'll see. ice in here. This is one way people will use bread, or you can use ice to push out the last of it. You see how it turns kind of icy right there? That just helps clean it too. When we go to break it down to clean it, it'll be easier to clean now. Boom, meat's ground, folks. So now what we have to do is we're gonna move some stuff around. Slide this guy back. Done with our ice water. And so now we're going to add in our ½ pound of cheese, right? Cheddar cheese. And it's the hard cheese. It's the kind that's made high temp cheese, they call it. So it doesn't just melt out into the sausage. And our green chili. That's what's next. Okay, there's our ½ pound of our cheese. It was frozen too, right? So again, keeping the ingredients cold. Dump it up in there. Whew, and I'm really glad I'm wearing these gloves, besides the food safety aspect of it. Handling these dang, oh, this is the wrong one. Let's get the other green chili. Boom, just like that. There's the proper green chilies diced up. Handling these bad boys and then touching your eyeball, I've learned from personal experience that that is not cool, okay? So another reason to wear gloves. So let's get this in here. Get all in there. All right, put it around a little bit and mix it in. Okay, we got more to add to this. This is just the first. We want to make sure you don't want to bite into that sausage and have like no green chili and no cheese, and then the next bite be all green chili and cheese, or just all green chili, or just cheese. So you really want to try and mix this stuff around. The thing about this, if you've never done it, I told you this meat was still partially frozen as we ground it. The cheese was still frozen, and the green chili has been in the fridge. So it's freaking cold. My hands are freezing. You guys want to join our Patreon? Shameless plug. Maybe I can get up enough funds to buy a mixer, the kind that you just crank the handle, and that way my delicate hands aren't all up in this cold meat. Actually, though, it's not that bad. Just let them thaw out for a little bit. All right, so we got pretty good mix on the meat, the green chili, and the cheese. So next, we're going to move to adding the spices, and there's a special way we do that too. That's next. All right, so I got me a ½ cup of cold water, right? I've got my dry blend mix, you know, my spices. Okay, so in here, what do we got? We've got, well, I got to add some garlic to it. That's one thing I don't add, but we'll add that in a minute. We got some crushed red pepper flakes. We got some cayenne pepper ground. We've got some black pepper. We've got kosher salt. We've got brown sugar, and then we got a teaspoon of meat cure or pink salt. That's one that, you know, helps keep everything safe. But let's get this into the meat. Then we'll get our garlic into the meat, and then we're ready to rock and roll. All right, so we got the garlic in there. It's just one of those little bottles of minced garlic. We've got our water. We're going to add our spices to our ½ cup of water. The recipe needs, or the meat needs some water in there anyways, and this is a good way to make sure you have a good blend of those spices so that it blends well within the meat. Okay, so I'm going to move that garlic around a little bit. Oh, we're going to get this stuff in here. Guess what? It's time again. Let's get cold. This is more important than the cheese and the pepper, because the cheese and the pepper, don't drop the meat, John, is important, right? But as I learned in school, this is more important, okay? Because you got to get those spices in every bite, okay? This is 5 pounds of meat. You've seen how much spice I had. It's only enough that goes into a ½ cup of water. And what you don't want Again, kind of like the example I gave you earlier, I bite into this sausage and be like, this is pretty bland, ain't got no flavor. And then I get to the other end of it, it's like, holy crap, all the spices were in that one bite. You know what I mean? So this is important. Work it. Okay, and you also, the next step is putting this thing back in the fridge and letting it chill for anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. And just kind of let those flavors all marry up. But when you're mixing it here, there's kind of you don't want to over mix it, right? You don't want to break it down too much because then it doesn't turn out well. But you want to mix it enough so that you start getting a little bit, notice how I'm going one hand at a time because my hands are getting cold. You want it to get a little bit tacky. You see how it's kind of tacky right there? That's pretty good for that spot. So we want to get the whole container like that. Not much more mixing, folks, and we're done. All right, that looks pretty awesome. So here's the dip. John's gonna get these gloves off. Over the sink. Like I said, this has got to go in the fridge and chill for a few hours. And so the next time you see me, right, we're gonna have the stuffer up here and we're gonna be stuffing sausage into some casings. All right, folks, so one thing you want to do after you make your grind and let it sit, and before you actually stuff, take out a small ball of it, make a patty, throw it on a pan and cook it. You can taste it, make sure your spice mix is right, because this is the last chance you get to make any adjustments. If I find out that something's not right, it's not the way I like it, then I'll just make some adjustments, remix it, all right? And then I can always stuff it later. But you skip this part, and you go to stuff it, and then you make a sausage. Once you cook it, it's like, oh my God, it didn't have any of this flavor, or it tasted too much like that, okay? So that's a tip, especially when you're doing a brand new recipe like this is for me, you're gonna wanna test it. So here we go, let's test it. Right now, I'm not eating the whole dang big patty, just a little one, right? It's hot, so. I can see the cheese in here. I can see the green chili in here. I'm really interested in seeing just how hot that green chili is. Oh, that's good. That cheese is so good. It's a lot of cheese too. Every bite. The green chili is good, you can taste it, but it's really not that hot at all. The overall taste is that crushed red pepper, cayenne pepper, and the green chili in there, but not a lot of heat. Maybe next time I add more green chili, but that's pretty close to perfect right there. That was really good. All right, so the next time you see me, we are going to be stuffing the sausage. All right, well, time to get this hopper full, okay? Try to use one hand as much as possible handling the product so the other hand can touch other stuff, but this time you're just gonna have to touch it. Now, when you're filling this hopper, press that meat down in there, okay? You want as little bit of air in there as possible. You don't want to give a bunch of air pockets. So if you just lollygag, you stick it in there and don't really give it any pressure. It gives a chance to build up air pockets, and you're going to get air in your sausages either way. But you just want to limit it as much as possible. So good. I've seen guys who just take a handful and just throw it in there thinking that does it. Well, it might work for them. But for me, just stick it down in there. Press it down good. All right, and once we get this hopper full, we'll put it on there, on this mount here, and then we'll get our casing. Now, I'll be kind of off camera just because I can't touch the camera and move it around with my hands like this. But you'll see me put it on here at least. This is sitting on top of a cookie sheet that I've cleaned and I've moistened. That's what the sausage is going to come out on, okay? This is a 5-pound hopper. This is 5 pounds of meat, but it's not fitting. But what we can do is, we'll take care of that in just a minute. All right, so time to put this guy on here. Okay, I know this is white, but you can see through it. And so I cranked it so that I can see the meat coming down in there. And I'm gonna crank it a little bit more. Okay, because again, when I put my casing on, I'm gonna tie it, and I don't want a big old air pocket right here at the end. Even though I'm gonna poke a hole in the casing, so it shouldn't be an issue, I don't want a big old air pocket here at the end of it. But you gotta be careful, because if I crank, it's gonna go woo, and when you stop, it still moves some. So you don't want it to come shooting out of there either. So these casings, and I'm gonna talk to you while you can't see me. I know that's rude, but again, I can't move the camera right now. These casings, I really like these ones. If I remember, I'll put the name brand of them down in the info box at the bottom of the video. But I've had troubles with blowouts and all that. I really got disappointed with some brands I was using, so I started looking at some folks on YouTube, and somebody was doing a review of some different brands of casings he used, and he really liked these casings. All right, another thing to do, wet this tube. Casing's wet, then you want the tube wet, it's easier to get the casing on it. And so this brand, you soak them for 15 minutes in cool water. So first you rinse them with cool water, then you soak them in cool water, then you rinse them, the inside of them, with warm water. What it does is, see, these things are stored in salt, right? So it does two things. You rinse the outside of it, and now you're rinsing the inside of it. But it also opens up that casing so that you know you got a clear path all the way through the casing, okay? So we got one casing. Start putting it on this end. Sometimes this is the worst part. You come off of there. Crap. Alright. Then all we're going to do is slide this casing up on here. I don't know how good that camera's picking this up. If you look right there, I got a toothpick. The toothpick, one, is going to poke a hole after I tie the end of this so that I have no air. You know, it's going to push the air through the hole. Two, after you've made your sausages, if you notice any air pockets in them, see how easy that's going on? I've never had them work this well. If you notice any air pockets, take that toothpick, or they make an actual little tool with like 4 spikes on it, the size of a toothpick, and you go around and just stab the holes in your sausage. That's what gets those air pockets out. You want those out because that's what makes your sausage explode, is those air pockets. Alright, so I need enough out to tie a knot. The one thing I'm not an expert on is how much of this I need per how much sausage meat I got in there. You know what I mean? So, poke our hole. There. So I put it on one. I got another one on standby, already soaked and everything. And so if I do all this and I still have meat in the hopper, which I don't think I will, then I'll come back and do it again. But it's time to get cranking here. So one hand cranks. Oh. Now if you go the wrong way, it doesn't. This other hand, his job is to form the sausage. Let it pull out on its own. Okay. You don't want it too loose, but at the same time, you don't want it too tight, because you want to be able to separate these links or twist it into links. Some people tie them, some people twist them. Depends on what you're using for a casing too, which way you have to do it. This is a natural casing. Boy, this guy's looking messy today. But it's working, so that's all that matters. So with a natural casing like this, you can go ahead and when you're done, you can twist it all. I've seen a lot of people do it where you just I did clean this countertop and sanitize it, good thing. But a lot of people roll this right out on their countertop. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you can do that. You don't have to put it on a cookie sheet like I am or something special. You got granite countertop and you want to just roll it out on there. That's perfectly fine. Ain't gonna hurt the sausage none. As long as you clean it. It's all right if it's got some play in it, because again, you got to be able to twist these guys. That's it. That's it. What we'll do is we'll use that other one. We'll load the rest of the meat in the hopper too before we do that. First, I just want to show you guys this deal here. Okay, so there's different ways to make these rolls again, but the one way I saw that I like is you just figure out how long you want your sausage. This is not store-bought sausage. This is my homemade, so that's about how long I want it. I like it about right there. Okay, so this first link here, I just go whoop, whoop, done. Okay, then how long do I want that next link? Well, I want it about that long, and about that long. Now this one, I'm going to go whoop, the opposite direction. Okay, you roll them in the opposite direction so that when you're rolling one, it's not unrolling the other one. And ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing pleasure, there are the sausage links. Alright, so those guys are going to be smoked, grilled, whatever we want to do with them. Okay. Alright, I'm going to finish taking care of this stuff and change into another pair of gloves because I got to reload some more meat, redo that next thing, and I'll catch you all later. Do me a favor, since this is the end of this part of the video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell notification button, and that way when I upload a new video, you'll get a copy of it, or you'll get notified that it's there. You can go check it out. Give me a thumbs up down below. You got any comments about you make sausage, how you make sausage, what I could do differently, any of that, go ahead and make comments. I enjoy them. I read them all. You want to help the channel grow, you want to become a member, check out our Patreon link down below. You can also donate down below. If you want to just keep in touch with me on other forms of social media, Facebook and all those links are down below. So when you're done watching the video, look at what I got down below there, folks. And again, I appreciate you watching. Until next time, I'll catch you all later.